Shenga Yedin. One day in Teletubbyland, Dipsy had all his friends. He has Tinky Winky, Lala, and Po. One day, Dipsy asked them if he has his own way to get himself back home. They said sure, and soon Dipsy started going. He also carried the bed that was rocking here. He jumped all along the way until he met some rabbits. He asked them if there's a way to get back home. The rabbits told them he had to go left and right until he met a tree. So Dipsy started going left and right until he met a dog. So he climbed up the tree until he gets to the top of the tree, but suddenly the tree blew him up. So he sent the help of the wind to blow him up. It blew off some leaves, even Dipsy off, and Dipsy fell down all a whirler, and his poop got all spiked. Later he came to the doctor. The doctor was the bear, and he gave him something to feel much better. But he said, "Never!" And so he jumped out through the window. Even he spilled some juice out into the floor, on the floor, until he met some cows chewing and eating some grass. Later, Dipsy was feeling hungry until he found a toast. So he eats that toast, but then a man came here and takes him to the cage. The policeman told him, "Get into the cage." And soon Dipsy stayed here in the cage for a while until some bank robbers came. They take the cage with they thought there was some big gold in here. So they took the cage by having Dipsy with it too. So they take it to the forest, and they looked inside and thought there was a driver, but he wasn't a driver. He was a Teletubby. Dipsy stayed him until a traveler came, and later he said he's good enough to eat, but he will take him where there's some goats. But he take him to the lake and he pushed her into the water until he saved some children, one boy and two girls. Later he let them going, and later he was lived alone. Later, he met a dog. He asked him if there's a way to get back home, but the dog could do like quack, quack, and Dipsy could not understand it. Before this was speaking like in Japanese, but this wasn't speaking in Japanese. It was in Duckish. Later that night, Dipsy was walking in the night until he found two lights showing brightly. He thought it was a monster and trying to kick him really hard, but this was much more heavier than Dipsy. It was a car, and Dipsy crashed into the car and was driving on the car. Later, some man see it's a Teletubby, kill it! But Dipsy ran away. Later, he met a squirrel and he asked him to give him something to eat, but he had to get him some money. But he doesn't have any money. But later, he asked a man to give him something to eat, but he said you had to give him some money, but he doesn't have any money. So he started to keep going. Later, he came to a town. But this wasn't the place that Dipsy was in. It was a sign, but he doesn't know what it said, so they didn't read it. But this sign said, when someone comes, which is a Teletubby, then they'll cut their head. And he was really a Teletubby, and soon they cut his head off. And later a man came here and he straightened Dipsy's head around with the string. Soon they relaxed a little bit. Later, after they relaxed, Dipsy came to a castle. And some men told that there's going to be a beautiful song for the queen. When someone sings much better, then he'll be the king. He thinks he sings much better. But as he started singing, he was singing Teletubbies instead of something. The queen said he'll not be able to get him to be the king. Kill it! But then Dipsy found a shepherd, so he was also dressed as a shepherd, and he started to keep going. Later, he found a man, and soon they get him in here that shoots bombs, and then they shoot him until he landed on something. He thought it was an island, but it wasn't an island, it was a window, and it drowned him under the water. Later, a bird came here, and he takes him into outer space. Later, a man came here, and the bird flew away. And later he thanks the man. They relax a little bit, and later the man tells that some stars are going to shoot out from the sky. So go on one. So Dipsy went on one star, and soon they shoot out. Later they fell into the water, but he wasn't his dog to fall into the water. Later that night, Dipsy was walking in the water until he met some men that were popping a balloon. He asked him, can he come with them? They said sure, but Dipsy started to keep, but he thinks no. But soon he came to a forest. Later, until some bees pooped him into his poop, and soon he ran away. Suddenly, out from the trees came a big bad wolf. He ran away from the wolf. He climbed up the rainbow, and he got to the top of the rainbow, and he slid down the rainbow. Later, he came to a place. But this wasn't the place that Dipsy was in. But this place was called China. And soon he gets to the shade that it was a cop. Later, he met a man, and he asked him, can he read those letters of Japanese? But he cannot speak Japanese, and he cannot read those letterings in Japanese. Later, Dipsy gets into the box that has cops in here. Later, some Indians came here. They thought there was something gold in here. Soon, they take it to the forest. And later, they found it was a Teletubby. Is this way to get back, huh? But actually, the man laid down. And later, some other man's trying to kill that Teletubby. But later, they run away. Soon came an elephant, and soon he takes them all the way back home. But later, they came here. He finds a man, but later he finds a big bird flying up into the sky. He thought it was a big bird, but it wasn't a big bird. It was an airplane. So Dipsy ran, and he asked a man, can he come with him? He said, sure. And soon they took off. Soon they came to a town. Later, he found some men that were making that book. He told them about his adventures, and later Dipsy started to keep going. Later, he met a snake and a lion, and soon a painter painted a picture of Dipsy. Księga 2. Later, some other animals find out all about Dipsy and all about his adventures, and everyone was complaining about that book. After for Dipsy having his adventures number 1, it was time for Dipsy to have his adventures number 2. Later, Dipsy came here. He came to the library, and he told all about his adventures. And later, they turned his way back home, and he gives him a map. Later, he finds a train. He gets into the train. He comes with them. He tells about his adventures, and later they came here. He doesn't know what this place was called. And there was a sign that said, the Snowy Mountains. And later, Dipsy slid down the skating really fast, and soon the wind blew him up. Later, some man got him. He's the winner, so they create some pictures of him. And some men were talking all about Dipsy and all about his adventures. Later, Dipsy looked on the map where he's going. Later, he danced with the girl, and later he looked at himself at the mirror, but he was not looking at himself with a big stomach, and soon they flew up into the air. Later, some birds came here. They popped his stomach, and later he fell down there. He met a man. He told him about his adventures, but they told him with a yellow beard. Later, he makes a boat. He got to take on a boat. So he puts one piece of the big barrel, a yellow chute, he takes the toast with it, and a red flag. And soon he's starting floating. And later he met a big frog, and he told him, be careful, you little Teletubby. Later, a storm will be coming soon. Later, Dipsy started to keep floating. Soon he came here to an island. Later, he met some black men, and they tried to eat him. But someone gets him up to the tree really quickly. It was some monkey. He told all about his adventures. Later, they dressed him as a king. And soon, Dipsy started to keep floating. Later, he met a man. He told all about his adventures, and soon they chased him on a horse. Later, the horse takes him all the way here, and Dipsy was really nervous until he met some Indians. He told them about his adventures, and later he fixed up the bear. He was walking in the night in a scary forest. He met a man the next day. He told them about his adventure. He was watching some TV while Dipsy was playing on the guitar. Soon Dipsy climbed up the top of the chimney later that night, but suddenly the wind blew him off the top of the chimney. He landed on the bear, but he runs away from the bear. Later, he met some animals. He soon found the gold in the gold mine. He found a lot of people. Soon he ran away carrying the bag that was a rock in there. And soon he gives him a gold. He thanks him. He was riding on the horse, but the horse tipped him. And later he was taken to the hospital. Later, he found some men. He told all about his adventures. And later he danced with the girl, and he needs to go now, right now. And later, so they create some pictures of him. Księga 3. Later, everyone were talking all about Dipsy and all about his adventures. Later, he thinks all about that, but soon he finds the lake, and it's time to get into the water. But as he got into the water, later a crab had jabbed him into his poop. Later they took out the crab off, and later they came going. Later he went to sleep later that night until he get a long beard, but he cut his beard. And soon he came to zoo. He met some monkeys. He gave him a crown, but he doesn't need that crown. He found the bear in the cage. Later he find this. a sign that says lion. And soon he came here where the elephant swims there. Later an elephant came here that was having glasses on it. And soon he grabs Dipsy and he drowns him on the water. And later he heard a noise. It was a can. He gets him out, but the parrot said he's a Teletubby get him out of the cage. But later they run away because the Teletubby was under a barrel. But later he met a horse. He told him about his adventures. He gets here. He was walking in his mine. Later he met a scary monster and he puts him on fire. He jumped to the other side and soon the mine exploded. He flew up into the air until he got here now. He danced a little song and later he met a gold. He told him over there to swim there's dolphins and later he went to go on one. He landed on it but he drowned him on the water. Later a fisherman had got him. They sent him into the cage. Later, some other people told him all about his adventures. And later, he asked him, can he drive on this car? But they said, no, you cannot drive on this car, but you jump over animals. He was driving until he was almost there. But then it was over there, he switched on the right, and he crashed into a tree. The car was in pieces. The wind blew him off here, and he found the man. He told all about his adventures. And he cheered him on. That was a long way to get him back home. And he told everyone all about his adventures. Later, everyone was complaining about Dipsy and all about his adventures. Now it was time for Dipsy to have his adventures number 4. Later, Dipsy looked at the map where he would keep going. Later, playing with the black dog, a bird gave him a letter. They gave him inside the crocodile. He read this letter. Later, some animals were talking all about Dipsy and all about his adventures. And some they agreed with that. And later, some birds take him on a basket all the way to an island. Later, some animals got him. He told all about his adventures. He sat down on a crocodile, and then on a cactus when he got spiked. And then on a worm, he also got spiked. Till he sat down on a turtle later that night. He told all about his adventures. Later, he found some parrots. He sang really good for them. Soon they were playing with the ball, but that wasn't the ball. It was an egg. Later, another grabs him and he drowns him on the water. He gets all wet. Later, he decided to create about Jack and Jill. And they were climbing up, but they slide down again. They decided to make a beautiful cuddle. They tried to get up there. The lion tries to get up there to get him to wash his teeth, but the monkey's dead. Later, he continued all about the rest of his adventures, but then he got scared by the crocodile. He went on the horse until he met some other people on other horses. He told all about his adventures. Later, Dipsy started to keep going. He listened to some music. He got scared in the scary forest. Later, he met some black men, and he told all about his adventures. And later they decided to throw Dipsy out of shelter. They did, and they take him in a cage, take him floating on a boat to the zoo. But the men planned to get him out. As soon as he gets him out finally, he look on the map where he's going, but he give him something to eat. He give him some fruits to eat. And now Dipsy made all about this book. The end. Yeah. No, but he's dead.